Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo back with part 2 of the 9 biggest turn-ons for guys. When it comes to turning a guy on, you have to know what works and what doesn't. And in this 2-part video, I'm going to give you the goods on the ways you can make a guy really desire you, basically a slave to your desire. Just like the sound of that, slave. Well, let's continue with the number 5 way to turn him on, which is to submit to him. Yikes, did I just say that? Before you freak out, hear me out first. This isn't about surrendering control in the relationship in general. You're not giving up your voice as his equal. This has much more to do with choosing to let your guard down for that special guy in your life. This is about allowing your man in and allowing his masculine side to connect with you. Connect with your softer feminine side, right? Trust me, if he's a quality guy, and I'm trusting that you can choose one now, he'll have no problem whatsoever with you being the toughest take-no-crap girl he knows. But if you really want to turn a guy on, you're going to need to appeal to his primal, animalistic side. Now, I don't care how technologically advanced we've become as a species. On some level, we are still all acting on the same instincts from tens of thousands of years ago. And one of a guy's instincts is the desire to have control. It's in our DNA to bring about order from chaos, to see a goal to completion. See, guys make things happen. At least your man should be making things happen. See, women today are doing more and more for themselves, as they should, but when it comes to your guy, he's going to want you to indulge this primal need of his. It's extremely important that he's able to do things for you. He's got to be able to earn the right to see this side of you that no one else does. And that's the biggest gratification a guy can feel in a relationship. So if you want to set his blood on fire, tip number 6 is you got to love him like a boss. If you want to keep things interesting, balance it out by embracing your inner dominatrix from time to time. I know it sounds a little extreme, but guys love when women can take control, especially when they can occasionally go along for the ride with you. Not be taken for a ride, go along for the ride. Think of it as reversing the roles in 50 Shades of Grey. Just hop in the driver's seat, take charge in bed, guide his hands where you want him to go, make it a little bit rough, have your way with him, say something a little bit naughty, but let him know that you can also jump on top. You got to realize that this releases a chemical called dopamine. If you can give him that unpredictable rush that every guy basically enjoys and wants and his brain wants, he'll become literally chemically addicted to you. It's like a drug addiction, only with love hormones. So technique number 7 is to tickle his funny bone. This is a little bit related to number 2 from last week, which is about not judging, in the sense that he wants somebody who's not going to be a drag months or years down the road. He needs to know you're fun. He wants you to be fun to be around. And more importantly, he wants you to be a positive driving force in his life. Having a great sense of humor is one of the best ways to add a sense of joy in your relationship, but you don't have to be a clone of Kristen Wiig or Tina Fey to be funny. Just find whatever style of humor naturally suits you. Don't be afraid to let it out. There's plenty to choose from. You got your sarcastic humor, your slapstick humor, your dark humor, your deadpan humor, and your juvenile, bathroom humor. Jerry Seinfeld was famous for his "what's the deal with" style of observational comedy. You can emulate that just by pointing out things that you observe in your environment, or just latch on to whatever humor he's going with and flow with it. It's a great way to connect with him. Guys really love it when a woman can connect with our sense and style of humor. Okay, so you want to turn him on like a light bulb? Tip number 8 is prolong the sweet agony. Anticipation is half the fun, as they say. Get him excited with the thought of doing those naughty things with you before you actually do them. There's nothing wrong with building up a little bit hype. You want to start a little bit of momentum in his head before you actually get to the main event. Yes, guys actually do like foreplay too. Give him a little sneak preview through the day. He'll be completely turned on before you've even touched him. So if you want him to burst through the door and take you on the spot before dinner, well, get a head start before breakfast. Give him a quick butt grab or accidentally brush your hand below the belt before he heads out to work when you know he can't really do anything about it. Or when he's at work, maybe you send him a few messages or email him some little dirty ideas. So you could send him a text saying, "I can't wait to get those pants off of you when you get home." That's a great way you can raise the stakes and start building that anticipation. So finally, tip number 9 is you got to be able to hold up your side of a conversation. I was reminded of this watching a Game of Thrones episode recently where one of the barbarians on the show was making a comment about, well, yeah, sure, but after sex, I still got to have a conversation, which is kind of a funny juxtaposition if you think about it. But ideally, you should have a guy who's going to have, well, more or less the same interests as you do, and even if you don't, you still got to be able to hold up a conversation. It's an important way to turn them on, both in mind, body, and spirit. Guys simply won't invest themselves in a partner that they can't have an interesting exchange with throughout the day. At the very core of it, we just want somebody who can keep up with us intellectually. The more you keep him engaged in stimulating conversation, the more stimulated he's going to be. You can look at it as a chance to teach each other something new or share a perspective. Either way, conversation is one of the main keys to his heart. Whether you've just met him or you've been with him for some time, you're always going to want to be able to capture his full attention. So turning him on in every sense of the word, you're going to be able to inject new life into an old relationship or start off on the right foot with a new relationship. But there's one part that you have to pay attention to and focus on, and that is the strength and authenticity of the connection you share with him. In fact, a lot of guys unconsciously test the woman in their life to find out if she's going to make them happy in the long run. This actually determines whether or not he's going to disconnect and pull away from you later on. And I've got a very special free presentation on this topic that you cannot miss. Not only will I go into the 3 hidden ways that men test women, but I'm also going to show you how to create a genuine connection with your guy that will make him basically make you the only woman in his life. And you'll also learn why compatibility isn't the best yardstick to determine the success of your relationship. So go on over and watch the video right now. It's going to change the way you look at relationships forever. Go over to datingadviceguru.com/connection code. That's datingadviceguru.com/connection code. And I'll see you next time. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com.